Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And as you can see, this is not the usual vlog that I usually post. If you guys watched my last vlog, which was the vlog on my last week of residency, and also if you follow me on Instagram, you probably know that this was meant to be my next video, which is an announcement video, which basically is me announcing the next phase of my career and my life, basically a life and career update. And I'm very glad that I can finally put it out there and tell you guys that I've matched to a fellowship program in hepatobiliary and multi-organ abdominal transplant surgery in the United States, in New York City. I actually matched a while back, and it has honestly been very difficult for me to keep this secret from you guys. And I even posted a little story on my Instagram, on the day that I matched, saying, that it's such a memorable day for me. It's such a wonderful day for me because it was indeed such a dramatic day for me when I found out that I matched. And yeah, I finally am able to share it with you guys. You guys are like my friends, my online friends, and I share everything with you, the good, the bad, the difficult things in life, not just the good news. But this is definitely one of those things which is great news that I'm so glad I get to share with you. So I just want to give you a quick overview of how this all happened, because I'm sure many of you are so curious about how this all went down. So everything happened last year, that in 2022, starting from my applications, the interview season, and matching. Everything happened in 2022. So I basically started out my applications. I sent out all my applications to all the programs that I was interested in. I didn't apply to all the programs. I think I applied to 21 programs that I applied all over the United States. So once I sent out all my applications to the 2021 programs, I sent it before the deadline. I think I sent it 4 days before the deadline. And I thought, once I submitted the applications, I thought, I would have to wait until the deadline has passed to start getting interviews. But to my surprise, I got an interview even like 2 days after I submitted my applications. My first interview came in 2 days after. So the deadline was still not done for applications. I already got my first interview. And to be honest, when I got that first interview, I thought, you know what, this is gonna be the one and only interview I get. And that's it. That's it. I'm not gonna get any more. And that's really what I thought. And that just made me realize, now looking at it retrospectively, how I was not sure how I would stand or how I would compare to their local applicants or the American applicants. I didn't know where I stood. And I'm very happy to say that that wasn't my last interview. That was not the only interview I got. I got invitations to interview from nine or 10 other programs. So a total of 11 programs I got interviews from. And it was all over the United States, from North Carolina, Virginia, Minnesota. And as I was going through the interview trail took about 3 to 4 months. And I literally went into what I like to call interview fatigue. Because, an interview is not just talking to someone. And I just wanted to mention, most of the interviews in the season that last year when I applied were on Zoom. They were all virtual interviews. There were a couple of programs that offered an in-person interview, and actually the program that I matched at was one of the in-person interviews. And I'll come back to that in a moment. But just coming back to the interviews, the interview season itself is a very emotionally and physically draining process, because it's not just talking to someone, you're talking to your potential future employers. So you need to make a good impression. They want to know if you are a type of person who would be suitable for their program, and if they feel that they can work with you. And so there's a whole prep that goes into getting mentally and physically ready for the interviews. And just imagine doing that for 3 or 4 months. It's a tedious process. So at the end of those 3 or 4 months, I remember feeling like fatigued almost like I'm going through this marathon and I'm kind of on my last leg, if that makes sense. And obviously when the interview season was done, I had a sigh of relief, but that's not where the stress ends. And again, I'll come to that. Now, coming about the interviews, I personally love in-person interviews. I feel that there is something about in-person interviews that you cannot gain from Zoom interviews. And probably the Zoom interview, tradition is not going to go away, even though COVID is sort of on its way out. I believe that the Zoom interview process is gonna stay on because it's so convenient, it's so cost efficient for the candidates, of course. So I feel like that's gonna continue even after the issue of COVID is done. But I personally love in-person interviews, and when I had the opportunity to interview in person, I grabbed it. Especially one of the interview that I had for my current program that I matched at happened to be when I was in the United States for my Step 3 exam. So it was perfect. It was my last day in New York, and they offered me at the last minute an in-person interview, and I obviously chose to do the in-person interview. But they did give an option for a Zoom interview on another date, but I went for the in-person interview. I feel like your personality, or at least for me, I feel like my personality really shines through when I'm in person, physically present, where they can work off of my energy, I can work off of their energy, and also see the institution in person. There's nothing that can beat that, of course. Zoom has its limitations. I absolutely enjoy my Zoom interviews as well with the other programs, but there's that extra experience that you get from an in-person interview. And I just like to mention, because I was also really interested to hopefully interview in New York, I did not get an interview from New York until the very end of the interview season. So I got it from so many other states, but I did not get a single New York interview initially. And believe it or not, at the last few weeks of the interview season, I got 2 interviews, not 1, but 2 interviews from New York City. I didn't know if I would like the program. I mean, of course, I had not done the interview yet, and I didn't know what would happen after that, but I was just happy that I had the option there to, kind of see how the program was and see if I like it, and I had the option of New York as well. And so once the interview season had wrapped up, obviously there was a sigh of relief for me, and I'm sure for the other candidates, but there was also a sense of that lingering nervousness, because that now there's a matching process that needs to be done. And if those of you are not familiar with the match process in the US, you have to submit your rank list with all the programs that you interviewed at, from the most preferred to the least preferred, and the programs will do the same with their interview candidates. So they will rank their candidates from best, or who they rank the best, to the least preferred, and they would submit it to this online NRMP matching system, and the computer basically does the matching process to match the candidates to the program. Now, the thing about residency is, when you're applying for residency, there are so many spots that you're competing for. So each program, depending on the specialty of the program, you will be competing for one of 5 seats or one of 10 seats. So it's not just one position. But when you're applying for a fellowship, especially like my fellowship program, they take 1 fellow per year. They're looking just for 1 fellow. So I'm basically competing for that 1 position amongst, 100, 150 candidates that they interview, probably more. Most of these candidates are superstars. Their CVs are phenomenal. Not that I saw their CV, but the things that they've done, the research that they've been involved in, the way they think, it's really impressive to watch. So, of course, it was intimidating for me, and I knew that I was keeping confident. I was keeping a confident mind, and also my interviews went really well. There was probably just one interview that I was not too fond of, for reasons that I will not mention here. Maybe I will talk about that in another video. But other than that, all of my interviews went really well, really, really well. I remember one of the Zoom interviews started at 8 in the morning and it went all the way till 5 p.m. It was an all-day interview. We didn't even get a break, because even our lunch break was eating on the screen, talking to the current fellows. So it was a full day of interviewing. But when I was creating my rank list, I created my rank list based on the preferred programs for me. And I put my best liked program and my least liked program in that order, and I submitted my rank list before the deadline, and the programs did the same. And then the day came where it was match day, and I remember I was on call on match day, and I got an email. I knew that the email would come around 8 p.m. Dubai time, and I was in Dubai and on call. So I was on call, and I was just hoping that I wouldn't be in surgery, because if I was in surgery, that would be a problem. But I wasn't, thankfully. I was out of surgery, but I got the email around 8 p.m., maybe a little later than 8 p.m. And I remember my heart pounding. I was in the on-call room, and my heart pounding as I clicked on that email notification. And I'm so sorry I didn't film that, because there was someone else in the room that day on call with me, so I couldn't film. But I clicked on the email and I saw the program name, and I was so ecstatic. I tried so hard to kind of suppress those emotions and hold it together to go to the next room to call my mom and call my dad and call my fiance. And I'm so glad that I matched the program that I did, and that was one of the programs that I did an in-person interview with. And I was so happy, because not only is the program that I matched at a really strong program, but I was really happy with the team that I would be working with. And that's so important to me. The team should be, you know, kind of helpful and approachable, and that's exactly what I felt about this program. And I was so happy, and that was my #1 ranked program, and I'm so glad that I matched at my #1 ranked program. And I'm so glad that my dad got to hear this news before he passed away, because he was so happy as well. My entire family was happy. My fiance was extremely happy. We all were so ecstatic about it. And of course I got to celebrate with my family, my parents and my sister. My fiance wasn't here, unfortunately, but we celebrated when he came for a visit after that. I forgot to mention, you do meet the current fellows as well, which is great, because you can ask them all the questions that runs through your mind as a, you know, future potential fellow. And I did ask all my questions to the fellows, and the fellows at the current program that I matched at, or the senior fellows, they were absolutely helpful and answering all the questions that I had. And of course, I need to also mention, there are a lot of things that you need to prepare for before going on this path of applying for fellowship, and very similarly for residency as well. There's a whole list of things that you need, whether it's paperwork or prepping yourself to strengthen your CV before applying to fellowships or residencies in the United States. But please let me know if you guys want me to make a dedicated video talking in, you know, great detail about the interview process and the paperwork that I submitted and what you need for applying to fellowship programs. And I'll definitely work on making a video. If I see that many people are interested to see a video like that, I'll definitely work on that and post a video on that to help you guys, especially those of you who are planning to apply in the future or very soon. I hope that can be helpful to you guys. Hey guys, I just wanted to quickly pop in here and also add to what I'm saying right now in this video, that I not only will make, if you guys are interested, I will not only do that video about the whole application and interview process for fellowship, but I also have some footage of my interview process and how my Zoom interviews went, how I prepared for the interviews. But I can share that as well in that video if you guys are interested to know more about this process. So yep, back to the video. But thank you guys so much for all the support and all the well wishes that I got on my last video. Actually, one of you, I don't remember who it was, but one of my subscribers commented on my last video saying that they knew that this was what this is what the announcement is going to be, that I matched to a program in the United States, because they said that the hint that they got was when I said that my fiance is in New York. So you guys are very smart. Like, it's very hard to keep a secret from you guys, but yeah, whoever you were right, and you guessed it right. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below, and also let me know in the comments down below if you want to know more about this whole process, and I will make a video. I'll work on making a video for you guys. And please, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe below, because I am planning to also make separate videos about my preparation for my move to the US. So let me know, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you aren't following me on Instagram, please do so. The links are all down in the bio. And until I see you guys in my next video, bye!